Hi, I'm Brian from the Miniature Chronicles, and this week we are finishing the first 10 warriors for the Necron Project. I forgot to base the miniatures before I primed them, so we're going to have to do that now. In this little glass I have some Elmer's glue. I like to get the Elmer's glue in a nice big area, and that way I can then use it. The first Necron that I based, I was completely out of frame, so we're jumping ahead to the second one. You just take a more crappy brush. I'm not really counting this in, as if you wash the brush good afterwards, you are able to save it and use it for more stuff. I just prefer to use the crappy brushes that you accumulate as you do this hobby for this type of work. You cover the base with Elmer's glue, or any PVA glue will work. And then, once it is covered, you're going to dip it into sand. I have simple play sand that, again, I'm not really counting on. Where I am, there's tons of snowstorms, and they use play sand all the time for vehicles. It's all over the place. You can just go pick it up, especially in the small quantities that we're using. I put the play sand in a small bowl, like as you see, then you dip it through and put it out. You then take a simple brush to brush off the little extras on the bits. I came out of frame on most of these because I tried to knock the sand back into the bowl, and I should have moved the camera. We have some black, medium gray, and white from Vallejo on a wet palette. All you really do is you take the black and you paint all of this sand on the base of the miniature. That's going to give you a good go. Normally you would get this all on the priming and just prime the whole thing black and then go on to the next steps, but since we forgot, what we're going to do is just prime it with the paint afterwards and take it and fill it in. Once you have that done for the first miniature, you have to take it and do it for the others. There's quite a bit of that. Eventually you get into a little rhythm and it works out quite well. Okay, now we are taking the medium gray, putting it on the brush, brushing quite a bit of it off to come up with a good dry brush, and just brushing along the top of the sand to give it some definition. Again, because of the way that I did this, sometimes you see a grain of sand will stick to the brush. Just kind of knock it off and keep going. It's not anything too exact. If you don't get enough paint on your brush like I did the first time, you're going to have to go back and get more paint. It's no big deal. You just keep on going and you end up getting quite a bit. You will notice I didn't do anything with the white. I didn't think I needed it. Again, you're going to do one miniature and then the next miniature. We are making some plumes of smokes. We're going to take some cotton swabs and an X-Acto knife. Cut the top of the cotton swab just lengthwise, and then grab some tweezers. You could do this with your hands, but tweezers will make it a lot easier. And pull the cotton swab kind of loose and in the shape of a smoke plume, as you see right there. It works out pretty good. What we are going to do then is airbrush. I'm going to throw the price of the airbrush in. It's going to make everything work out a little bit faster, and I'm beginning to think that I'm going to value my time more on this. Airbrush is a great investment. I'm just airbrushing the top of the swabs black and trying to keep this center white, because really hot smoke is white and then it turns black as it goes out. In this tray I have some red and orange ink. You take a cotton swab that has been airbrushed, you snip off the top, you dip it into the orange ink, and then you dip it into the red ink, just one side, and you can see it gives it just a hint of fire over at the end. Right now it doesn't look like much. Once we put it on a miniature, it's going to look a lot better. So here we have our Necron. We're going to take a smoke plume and some super glue. We're going to put some super glue, a nice big glob of it on the end. The more of a glob, the better, because it's going to mix up those lines that we just put on by dipping it into the inks. And just put them on where they make sense, if it makes sense to put on more. I made quite a few smoke plumes when I was going about it. It's easy to get into the rhythm and to do it that way. It took me 1 hour and 5 minutes to base all 10 of the Necrons. That's bringing our time total up to 5 hours and 5 minutes. For spending, last episode we spent $111.15 in total. This week we are adding on the Vallejo Gray at $6.29, Airbrush Cleaner at $13.96, Red Ink at $6.33. I got the orange ink for the same price. A big box of Q-tips for $6.80. Primer for the airbrush, $28.85. Ash pigment from Vallejo for $23.14. An airbrush kit for $129.96. A cleaning kit for the airbrush at $17.96. That is bringing our total up to $350.83. I believe that this is going to be the majority of the cost, but we will see how much the miniatures end up costing. See you again soon. Thank you.